Welcome to Ancient Relics Keeper, where buried mysteries, unsolved phenomena, and the darkest corners of history slowly unravel through chilling tales and forgotten truths waiting to be uncovered. Beneath the vast, star-strewn canopy of the cosmos, whispers of extraterrestrial life tantalize our imagination. Are we alone, or do unseen eyes watch from distant worlds? Strange signals, fleeting crafts, and chemical clues beckon us to unravel their secrets. From eerie encounters to cosmic pulses, the mystery of aliens grips our curiosity. Join us on a thrilling journey to explore the enigma of otherworldly beings. Dare we find the truth. The Kelly Hopkinsville Encounter, a night that shook the stars. Picture a quiet summer night in 1955, where the stars above rural Kentucky gleam with secrets yet to be told. In the small community of Kelly Hopkinsville, a modest farmhouse stands as a beacon of ordinary life until it becomes the stage for one of the most haunting and perplexing encounters in UFO history. The Kelly Hopkinsville encounter isn't just a fleeting glimpse of strange lights or a whispered rumor. It's a visceral, hours-long confrontation between a terrified family and beings that defy every rule of the natural world. As gunfire echoed through the night and glowing eyes pierced the darkness, the Sutton family found themselves at the edge of reality, facing a mystery that still sends chills down the spine. Was this a visit from extraterrestrial explorers, a misunderstood natural phenomenon, or something even stranger? Join us as we unravel the enigma that has captivated UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. A story that begs the question: are we truly alone in the vast cosmos? Let's step into the shadows of that fateful night and uncover the truth, or at least get as close as we dare. The story begins in the fading light of August 21st, 1955, at the Sutton family's farmhouse. A simple wooden structure tucked away in the rolling hills of Christian County, Kentucky. This remote corner of the world, far from the buzz of cities or the glare of modern technology, was home to 8 adults and 3 children, bound by the rhythms of farm life. The air was thick with the hum of cicadas, and the evening promised nothing more than quiet conversation and rest after a long day. But the universe had other plans. Around 7 p.m., Billy Ray Taylor, a family friend visiting from Pennsylvania, stepped outside to draw water from the well. As he tilted his head skyward, his breath caught in his throat. A radiant, multicolored object sliced through the night sky, its glow shifting from red to green to blue before it vanished behind a cluster of trees near the property. Heart racing, Taylor stumbled back into the farmhouse, his voice trembling as he described the spectacle. The others, practical, grounded folks who trusted their eyes over wild imagination, laughed it off. A meteor, they said, or perhaps a plane catching the light just right. Yet their dismissal was short-lived, as the night soon took a turn into the realm of the impossible. The first hint that something was amiss came not from the sky but from the earth. Strange, scratching noises echoed from the woods surrounding the farmhouse, like claws scraping against bark. The family's dogs, usually calm, began to bark furiously, then whimpered and fled under the porch, their instincts sensing a presence that defied understanding. Unease settled over the household, and as the adults peered into the darkness, they saw it. A figure, small and unearthly, emerging from the tree line. Its eyes glowed with a fierce, yellowish light, and its form shimmered under the starlight. This was no meteor, no trick of the mind. This was something alive, something watching. The Kelly Hopkinsville encounter had begun, and over the next several hours, it would unfold into a saga of fear, defiance, and unanswered questions that would echo across decades. What made these creatures so unforgettable? Their appearance was unlike anything the Suttons had ever seen, a blend of the familiar and the utterly alien that seared itself into their memories. Standing barely 3 feet tall, the beings had oversized heads that seemed too large for their slender, almost fragile bodies. Their skin, or perhaps some kind of soot, gleamed with a metallic, silver-like sheen, reflecting the dim light of the farmhouse in a way that made them appear both solid and ethereal. The most striking feature was their eyes. Large, almond-shaped, and glowing with an intense, pupil-less radiance that seemed to pulse with awareness. These weren't the eyes of a predator or a prey animal. They were the eyes of something that knew, something that observed with a purpose. Their arms, long and spindly, ended in claw-like hands that flexed with an eerie precision, as if testing the air. Pointed, bat-like ears protruded from their heads, twitching at the slightest sound, suggesting a heightened sensitivity to their surroundings. Most unsettling was their movement, not walking, but gliding, as if they were unbound by gravity, their bodies hovering just above the ground in a silent, fluid motion. This bizarre appearance raises questions that linger like a cosmic riddle. Were these creatures biological entities, their metallic sheen a natural exoskeleton evolved on a distant world? Or were they wearing advanced suits, perhaps protective gear for an environment as foreign to them as theirs was to us? The glowing eyes suggest a sensory system far beyond human capabilities. Perhaps they saw in infrared or ultraviolet, perceiving the world in ways we can't imagine. On platforms like X, users speculate wildly. Some propose the creatures used bioluminescence to communicate, their eyes flashing signals to one another, while others suggest optical implants or cybernetic enhancements. The floating movement is equally puzzling. Could it indicate anti-gravity technology, a hallmark of an advanced civilization? Or was their physiology so different, perhaps with a skeletal structure lighter than air, that Earth's gravity barely constrained them? Skeptics point to great horned owls, whose reflective eyes and nocturnal habits might explain some traits. But owls don't shimmer like polished chrome, don't glide silently, and don't approach a house in coordinated groups. The creature's form, so vividly described by every witness, challenges earthly comparisons, inviting us to consider whether we were visited by beings from a star system far beyond our reach. The encounter escalated from eerie observation to outright terror as the creatures initiated what can only be described as a prolonged siege. Around 8 p.m., one of the beings approached the farmhouse, its glowing eyes fixed on the windows like beacons in the night. Glennie Langford, the family matriarch, urged the men to protect the household. Billy Ray Taylor and Elmer Lucky Sutton, armed with a 20-gauge shotgun and a .22 rifle, positioned themselves at the door. When the creature stepped closer, its claw-like hand reaching forward, Sutton fired. The blast hit the being dead on, but instead of collapsing, it flipped backward in a graceful somersault, and scathed and melted into the darkness. The sound of the impact was bizarre metallic clank, like a bullet striking a tin can, suggesting a surface impervious to human weapons. This was no ordinary intruder, and the family's fear deepened into dread. What followed was a relentless, hours-long assault that turned the farmhouse into a fortress under siege. The creatures, undeterred by gunfire, returned again and again, their movements methodical and unerringly precise. They peered through windows, their glowing eyes locking onto the terrified occupants, and scratched at the walls with a sound that sent shivers down the spine. One climbed onto the roof, its silhouette looming against the starry sky, while another clung to a nearby tree, its body swaying as if taunting the humans below. Each time the family fired, the creatures retreated only to reappear moments later, as if testing the limits of human endurance. The attack stretched from evening into the early hours of August 22nd, a grueling marathon that left the family's ammunition depleted and their nerves in tatters. The creature's persistence was chilling. They didn't attack aggressively, like a predator, nor did they flee like a frightened animal. Instead, they moved with a calculated rhythm, approaching, retreating, and approaching again, as if conducting an experiment with the humans as subjects. This prolonged attack is the heart of the encounter's mystery, a puzzle that defies easy answers. Why did the creatures linger for so long, risking exposure to gunfire? Were they studying the family, probing their reactions like scientists observing a new species? The metallic clank of bullets suggests advanced armor or a biological structure unlike anything on Earth, perhaps a composite material or an energy field that absorbed kinetic energy. On X, users theorize about nanotechnology or force shields, blending sci-fi with the tantalizing possibility of alien technology. The creature's coordinated movements hint at intelligence, possibly a hive mind or telepathic communication, allowing them to act as a unit without audible signals. The fact that they targeted windows and doors suggests an understanding of human architecture, as if they knew where to find their prey. Skeptics argue that the family's fear may have distorted their perception, turning a group of curious animals into an alien invasion. Yet the sheer duration, nearly 8 hours, and the consistency of the accounts, from children to adults, undermine this explanation. No known animal behaves this way, returning repeatedly under fire with no visible injury. The siege, documented by spent shells and bullet marks, was a real, tangible event, one that leaves us wondering, what did these beings want, and why did they choose that night to reveal themselves? The credibility of this extraordinary tale rests on the shoulders of its witnesses, a group of ordinary people whose sincerity adds weight to their claims. The Sutton family and their guests, 11 in total, including men, women, and children, provided accounts that aligned with remarkable consistency. These were not fame seekers or conspiracy theorists. They were farmers, rooted in a practical worldview, with no history of mental instability or deceit. Their fear was genuine, evident in their trembling hands and hushed voices as they recounted the night to police. The children, too young to fabricate such a detailed story, described the creatures with the same vividness as the adults, their terror untainted by skepticism. This unity across age groups and personalities makes a coordinated hoax unlikely. On X, users often highlight the witnesses' authenticity, with comments like, "A whole family risking ridicule for no gain? That's hard to fake." Their reluctance to seek publicity, coupled with their consistent narrative under scrutiny, transforms their story from anecdote to evidence, a cornerstone of the encounter's enduring power. When the family finally fled to the Hopkinsville police station around 2:30 a.m., their distress was unmistakable. Officers found them pale, sweating, and speaking in frantic bursts, their fear so palpable it silenced any doubts about their sincerity. Returning to the farmhouse, police conducted a thorough search, uncovering spent shotgun shells, bullet holes in window screens, and scuff marks on the ground, physical traces of a violent night. Neighbors reported seeing strange lights in the sky, corroborating the family's account of the initial sighting. Yet no bodies, blood, or creature remains were found, a fact that deepened the mystery. Some X-users speculate that the creature's metallic bodies disintegrated or were retrieved by a larger craft, while others suggest they were impervious to physical damage. The police report, while stopping short of an alien explanation, acknowledged the family's credibility and the lack of a natural cause, leaving the case open-ended and ripe for speculation. The community's reaction was a whirlwind of fascination and skepticism, transforming Kelly Hopkinsville into a flashpoint for UFO lore. Local newspapers ran sensational headlines like, "Goblins Invade Farmhouse," blending fear with a touch of absurdity. Some neighbors stood by the Suttons, recalling their own glimpses of odd lights, while others scoffed, accusing the family of drunkenness or a prank gone too far. The Sutton children faced taunts at school, and the adults endured whispers at church, yet they never wavered in their story. The encounter's notoriety spread beyond Kentucky, capturing national attention during a time when UFO sightings were fueling Cold War anxieties about invasion and the unknown. On modern platforms like X, the story thrives, with users sharing archival photos of the farmhouse and debating its truth under hashtags like Kelly-Hopkinsville and UFO Encounter. The community's divided response mirrors the broader human struggle to reconcile the familiar with the inexplicable, a tension that keeps the mystery alive. Official response to the encounter was predictably muted, reflecting the era's reluctance to engage with UFO reports. The Air Force's Project Blue Book, tasked with investigating such incidents, gave the case a cursory glance, suggesting the family mistook owls or meteors for aliens. No formal investigation followed, and the Suttons received no support from authorities, a silence that fueled theories of a government cover-up. On X, some users argue that the military knew more, perhaps suppressing evidence to avoid public panic. The lack of a definitive debunking, however, left the encounter's questions unanswered, allowing it to fester in the public imagination as a tantalizing what if. The lasting legacy of the Kelly-Hopkinsville encounter is a spark that refuses to fade. It has inspired books, documentaries, and the phrase "little green men," embedding itself in the fabric of UFO culture. On X, it remains a touchstone for enthusiasts, a reminder that some mysteries endure, challenging us to look skyward and wonder what or who might be watching. The Milton Torres UFO encounter, chasing shadows in the sky. On a crisp autumn night in 1957, high above the tranquil fields of East Anglia, England, a U.S. Air Force pilot named Milton Torres found himself at the heart of a mystery that would haunt him for decades. Flying a state-of-the-art F-86D Sabre jet, Torres was thrust into a high-stakes pursuit of a UFO object so fast, so elusive, that it defied every known law of aviation. This wasn't a distant light or a fleeting glimpse. It was a radar-confirmed, tangible presence that challenged the boundaries of human technology and ignited questions that still burn bright. Was this a secret weapon from a rival nation, a glitch in the system, or are we imagining a visitor from beyond the stars? The Milton Torres UFO encounter is a pulse-pounding chapter in the saga of unexplained aerial phenomena, a story that grips the imagination and whispers of secrets hidden in the night sky. For an audience on the X platform, where UFO enthusiasts and skeptics clash in real time, this tale is a call to wonder. What did Torres chase that night? And why was the truth buried for so long? Let's climb into the cockpit and relive a moment when the impossible became real. The story unfolds on September 20th, 1957, over the North Sea near the Royal Air Force Base at Manston, Kent, where Lieutenant Milton Torres, a 26-year-old pilot with the 406 Fighter Wing, was stationed. The Cold War was at its peak, and the skies over Europe were a tense chessboard, with NATO forces on constant alert for Soviet incursions. Torres, a skilled and level-headed aviator, was part of a night scramble team, ready to intercept any unidentified aircraft that might threaten Allied airspace. That evening, as the stars began to pierce the darkening sky, the calm was shattered by an urgent call from ground control. Radar operators at RAF Bentwaters had detected an anomalous Targeta blip moving at speeds and altitudes that no known aircraft could match. Torres and his wingmen were scrambled, their jets roaring into the night to confront the unknown. As he climbed to 32,000 feet, Torres felt the weight of the mission. This was no routine patrol. Something extraordinary was out there, and he was about to meet it head-on. The object's behavior was unlike anything Torres had encountered in his years of flying. Ground radar reported it moving at speeds exceeding 7,000 miles per hour, 10 times the speed of sound, far beyond the capabilities of any jet, missile, or experimental craft in 1957. The F-86D Sabre, one of the fastest interceptors of its time, could barely reach 700 miles per hour, making the target's velocity seem like something out of science fiction. But speed was only part of the enigma. The object didn't follow a predictable path. It darted across the radar screen, executing sharp, instantaneous turns that defied the laws of physics. No human pilot could withstand the G-forces of such maneuvers, and no known aircraft could change direction so abruptly without disintegrating. Torres, guided by ground control, adjusted his course to intercept, his radar scope locking onto the target as it hovered briefly, then accelerated again. The object's size was equally baffling. Radar indicated it was as large as an aircraft carrier, a massive presence that seemed to dwarf his jet. Yet, despite its scale, it moved with a fluidity that suggested intelligence, as if it were aware of the pursuit and toying with its pursuer. This extraordinary speed and behavior captivated Torres and the radar operators, painting a picture of a technology far beyond human reach. On the X platform, users often debate the implications. Could this have been an early stealth craft, perhaps a Soviet prototype? But the USSR's fastest jets, like the MiG-15, topped out at 600 miles per hour, and their radar signatures were unmistakable. The object's ability to hover, then surge to hypersonic speeds, suggests a propulsion system that didn't rely on combustion or aerodynamics, perhaps electromagnetic or even anti-gravity technology, as some X-platform posts speculate with hashtags like UFO tech and alien engineering. The sharp turns, executed without deceleration, imply a structure immune to inertial forces, possibly a material or energy field unknown to 1950s science. Skeptics argue it could have been a radar glitch, a common issue in early systems, but the consistency of multiple radar stations tracking the same target undermines this explanation. The object's behavior wasn't random. It was deliberate, almost playful, as if testing the limits of human response. For Torres, strapped into his cockpit, the chase was both thrilling and unnerving, a dance with a shadow that seemed to know his every move. The encounter reached its climax with a moment that would define the mystery: the object's sudden disappearance. As Torres closed in, his radar locked onto the target, and ground control issued a chilling command: fire all 24 rockets. This was no warning shot. It was an order to destroy an unidentified object over Allied territory, a decision that underscored the perceived threat. Torres prepared to engage, his finger hovering over the trigger, when the object did the impossible. It vanished. One moment it was a solid blip on his radar, a massive presence just miles away. The next it was gone, leaving no trace. Radar operators reported the target accelerating to an estimated 10,000 miles per hour before fading from their screens entirely. Torres scanned the sky, his instruments silent, the night empty. The pursuit, which had lasted mere minutes, ended as abruptly as it began, leaving him alone in the vast darkness, his jet's engines the only sound in the void. This vanishing act is the encounter's most tantalizing puzzle, a moment that fuels endless speculation on the X platform. How could an object of such size and speed disappear without a trace? Some users propose a cloaking device, a technology that could render the craft invisible to radar and human eyes, a concept now explored in modern stealth research but unthinkable in 1957. Others suggest it entered a higher dimension or activated a propulsion system that propelled it beyond Earth's atmosphere in seconds. The acceleration to 10,000 miles per hour without a sonic boom or visible exhaust defies conventional physics, hinting at a power source that could manipulate spacetime itself. Skeptics lean toward equipment failure, arguing that radar anomalies could create false targets that disappear when the system resets. Yet the simultaneous loss of signal across multiple stations, coupled with Torres's visual confirmation of the radar lock, makes this less plausible. The disappearance wasn't just a technical hiccup. It was a deliberate exit, as if the object chose to end the encounter on its terms. For Torres, the silence that followed was deafening, a reminder that he had brushed against something beyond comprehension. The encounter's credibility hinges on Torres himself, a witness whose professionalism and clarity lend weight to the story. A trained pilot with combat experience, Torres was no novice prone to panic or exaggeration. His detailed account, delivered to superiors immediately after landing, was precise and unembellished, reflecting the discipline of a military officer. Decades later, when he spoke publicly after the files were declassified, his story remained unchanged, delivered with a mix of awe and frustration at the lack of answers. The involvement of multiple radar operators and ground controllers further bolsters the case, as their independent observations aligned with Torres's experience. On the X platform, users often praise Torres's reliability, with comments like, "A fighter pilot doesn't mistake a weather balloon for a UFO moving at Mach 10. The absence of personal gain. Torres faced career risks by speaking out adds to his authenticity, making him a linchpin in the encounter's enduring credibility. The official response to the incident was shrouded in secrecy, a hallmark of Cold War-era UFO investigations. After landing, Torres was debriefed by a U.S. Air Force colonel who ordered him to remain silent, warning that disclosure could jeopardize his career. A mysterious civilian figure, possibly from intelligence services, reinforced the message, hinting at national security concerns. The encounter was classified, its details buried in military archives until 2008, when the UK's Ministry of Defence released UFO files under public pressure. The declassified documents, including Torres's handwritten report, confirmed his account, revealing no official explanation for the object. On the X platform, this secrecy fuels conspiracy theories, with posts tagged UFO cover-ups suggesting the US and UK governments knew the object was extraterrestrial but suppressed the truth to avoid panic. The lack of a follow-up investigation, despite the object's proximity to NATO bases, is equally puzzling, leaving a void that speculation eagerly fills. The declassification of the files was a turning point, thrusting the encounter into the public eye and sparking a wave of interest. When the UK released the documents, media outlets from London to New York ran stories, and Torres, now retired, gave interviews detailing the event with unflinching clarity. The files revealed not only his report but also radar logs and correspondence between RAF and USAF officials, all lacking a definitive conclusion. This transparency, however partial, validated Torres's experience, transforming a whispered anecdote into a documented mystery. On the X platform, the release was a bombshell, with users sharing scanned pages of the report and analyzing every detail under hashtags like Milton Torres and UFO files. The declassification bridged the gap between military secrecy and public curiosity, proving that something extraordinary had happened that night, even if its nature remained elusive. The community response, both in 1957 and today, reflects the encounter's polarizing power. At the time, the incident was kept under wraps, known only to a handful of military personnel and locals who noticed the jet scramble. When Torres spoke out decades later, he faced a mix of fascination and skepticism, with some praising his courage and others dismissing him as a publicity seeker. The broader UFO community embraced the story, citing it as evidence of advanced technology, while mainstream scientists largely ignored it, wary of its implications. On the X platform, the encounter remains a hot topic, with threads debating whether the object was a Soviet experiment, a natural phenomenon, or an alien craft. Posts often highlight the Cold War context, when fear of enemy technology amplified UFO reports, yet the object's capabilities far exceeded anything the Soviets or anyone could produce. The community's enthusiasm, tempered by healthy skepticism, keeps the story alive, a testament to humanity's hunger for answers. The object's speed, maneuverability, and disappearance challenge our understanding of aerodynamics, propulsion, and radar technology. If extraterrestrial, it suggests a civilization capable of interstellar travel, with systems that manipulate energy in ways we're only beginning to theorize. If terrestrial, it implies a leap in technology that was hidden from even the most advanced militaries. Most likely, the event highlights the limitations of 1950s radar, which could misinterpret atmospheric phenomena or electronic noise as solid objects. Yet the lack of a clear explanation, even after decades of analysis, underscores the encounter's enduring mystery, a fleeting glimpse of what might lie beyond our grasp. The lasting legacy of the Milton-Torres UFO encounter is a quiet but persistent echo in the annals of UFO history. It has inspired documentaries, books, and countless discussions on the X platform, where it stands as a symbol of the unexplained. Its declassification marked a shift toward transparency, encouraging other witnesses to come forward. For those who gaze at the stars, it's a reminder that some truths remain just out of reach, waiting to be chased. The Rendlesham Forest Incident, Britain's Roswell unraveled. From the high-speed chase of Milton Torres's UFO over the North Sea in 1957, where a fighter pilot grappled with a vanishing shadow, we now leap forward to a chilling winter night in 1980, deep in the woods of Suffolk, England. The Rendlesham Forest Incident, often dubbed Britain's Roswell, is no fleeting radar blip or distant light. It's a tangible, multi-witness encounter that left physical scars on the land and unanswered questions in the minds of those who lived it. Over 2 nights, U.S. and British military personnel stationed at RAF Woodbridge and RAF Bentwaters stumbled upon a phenomenon that defied explanation. A glowing, triangular craft, strange symbols, and a trail of evidence that refuses to fade. Was this a secret military experiment gone awry, a cosmic visitor, or something beyond our grasp? For the X platform's curious minds, where hashtags like Rendlesham and UFO truth ignite heated debates, this incident is a beacon of mystery, demanding we peer into the darkness and ask, what landed in Rendlesham Forest, and why does it still haunt us? Let's step into the pines and uncover a story that pulses with the unknown. The incident began on December 26, 1980, at the twin NATO bases of RAF Woodbridge and RAF Bentwaters, leased to the U.S. Air Force during the Cold War's tense twilight. Nestled between the bases lies Rendlesham Forest, a dense expanse of pine and shadow, its silence broken only by the hum of military patrols. Around 3 a.m., security personnel at Woodbridge's East Gate spotted unusual lights descending into the forest. Red, blue, and white, pulsing in a way that ruled out aircraft or stars. Thinking it might be a downed plane, Sergeant Jim Peniston, Airman John Burroughs, and others ventured into the woods to investigate. What they found was no wreckage but a phenomenon that would shake their understanding of reality. Over the next 2 nights, dozens of servicemen, including high-ranking officers, would witness events that transformed a routine patrol into a cornerstone of UFO lore. The observation of the object was the heart of the encounter, a moment so vivid it seared itself into the witnesses' memories. As Peniston and Burroughs pushed through the underbrush, they saw a glowing, triangular craft, roughly 9 feet wide and 6 feet high, hovering just above the forest floor. Its surface was black, glossy, and seamless, like polished obsidian, with no visible engines or seams. Red and blue lights pulsed along its edges, casting an eerie glow that bathed the surrounding trees in an otherworldly hue. Peniston, a seasoned non-commissioned officer, approached within arm's reach, sketching the object in his notebook and noting strange, hieroglyph-like symbols etched into its side. The craft emitted a low hum, not mechanical but almost alive, and a warmth that prickled the skin. Burroughs described a sensation of time slowing, as if the forest itself held its breath. The object hovered for nearly an hour, then rose silently, weaving through the trees before vanishing into the sky with a burst of light. 2 nights later, on December 28th, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, Deputy Base Commander, led a second team into the forest after reports of renewed activity. Armed with a tape recorder, HALT documented lights moving through the trees, bright, star-like objects that darted and hovered, one beaming a thin, laser-like ray toward the ground. This close encounter with the craft is what makes Rendlesham unforgettable. The object's triangular shape and silent hover defy conventional aircraft, which rely on noisy jet engines and visible propulsion. The hieroglyphic symbols, described by Peniston as resembling ancient script, suggest a purposeful design, perhaps a language or code from an advanced intelligence. On the X platform, users speculate about their meaning, with some comparing them to Sumerian cuneiform or theorizing their navigational markers, shared in posts tagged alien symbols. The craft's ability to maneuver through dense forest without disturbing branches hints at technology that manipulates gravity or space itself. Skeptics propose a misidentified helicopter or experimental drone, but 1980s technology couldn't produce silent, hovering triangles with laser-like beams. The witnesses' detailed accounts, corroborated by multiple perspectives, challenge mundane explanations, forcing us to consider whether this was a craft from another world or another reality. The sensory details, the hum, the warmth, the distorted sense of time add a layer of intimacy to the sighting, making it feel less like a distant anomaly and more like a deliberate visitation. The physical evidence left in the forest is the incident's most compelling anchor, grounding the surreal in tangible reality. After the first night, Peniston and Burroughs returned to the site, finding 3 indentations in the soil, each about 1.5 inches deep and 7 inches wide, forming a perfect triangle. The ground was scorched, and nearby trees bore broken branches, as if something heavy had rested there. HALT's team, investigating the second night, measured elevated radiation levels at the landing site, beta and gamma readings 10 times higher than background levels, concentrated in the indentations. Soil samples later confirmed compaction, suggesting a weight of several tons had pressed into the earth. HALT's audio recording, now declassified, captures his real-time observations. There's a depression in the ground. The radiation is strongest at the center. The team also found burn marks on tree bark, aligned with the craft's reported position, and plaster casts of the indentations preserved the triangular pattern. These findings weren't fleeting or subjective. They were measurable, documented, and witnessed by trained personnel. This evidence elevates Rendlesham above mere anecdote, offering a rare glimpse of a UFO's footprint. The triangular indentations suggest a structured landing gear, implying a designed craft rather than a natural phenomenon. The radiation levels, though not dangerous, were anomalous for a rural forest, prompting speculation on the X platform about nuclear propulsion or energy emissions, with posts tagged UFO radiation. The scorched soil and damaged trees point to intense heat or energy, inconsistent with any known aircraft of the era. Skeptics argue the indentations could be animal burrows or the radiation a natural spike, but the precise geometry and localized readings defy such dismissals. The evidence was compelling enough to prompt official reports, yet its preservation was limited. Samples were taken but not widely shared, fueling theories of suppression. For X-platform users, the physical traces are a holy grail, proof that something landed, lingered, and left its mark. The question remains: was it testing the terrain, signaling its presence, or simply passing through? The witness's reliability is a cornerstone of the incident's credibility, tying the surreal to human experience. Over 20 servicemen, from enlisted airmen to officers like HALT and Peniston, reported sightings, their accounts aligning despite intense scrutiny. These were trained professionals, accustomed to identifying aircraft and assessing threats, not prone to hysteria or fabrication. Peniston's notebook, filled with sketches and measurements, reflects a methodical mind grappling with the impossible. HALT's tape, now a public artifact, captures his calm, professional tone as he narrates the lights and radiation readings. The witnesses faced career risks by speaking out, yet many, including Halt, stood by their stories decades later. On the X platform, users champion their courage, with comments like, "Military officers don't lie about UFOs unless they saw something real." The diversity of perspectives enlisted men, officers, and security personnel strengthens the case, making a coordinated hoax unlikely. The official response was a mix of acknowledgement and evasion, a pattern familiar to UFO researchers. After the incidents, Halt submitted a memo to the UK Ministry of Defence, detailing the sightings and evidence. The MOD's response was curt. The events posed no threat to national security and warranted no further investigation. The U.S. Air Force, despite operating the bases, remained silent, deferring to British authorities. Declassified files, released in 2002, included Halt's memo and Peniston's sketches, but offered no conclusions. This reticence sparked accusations of a cover-up, with X-platform posts tagged Rendlesham cover-up suggesting the craft was a secret U.S. project or an extraterrestrial encounter suppressed to avoid panic. The lack of follow-up, despite radiation readings and physical traces, contrasts with the incident's gravity, leaving witnesses frustrated and the public hungry for answers. The declassification of the files was a turning point, thrusting Rendlesham into the spotlight. Released under the UK's Freedom of Information Act, the documents included Halt's tape, witness statements, and radiation data, validating the servicemen's claims. Media frenzy followed, with outlets like the BBC and The Guardian dissecting the British Roswell. The files didn't confirm aliens but didn't debunk the sightings either, fueling global interest. On the X platform, the release was a milestone, with users sharing audio clips of Halt's tape and analyzing Peniston's sketches under hashtags like Rendlesham Files. The transparency, however incomplete, gave the incident legitimacy, transforming it from a military secret to a public mystery that continues to captivate. The community response, then and now, reflects the incident's polarizing nature. In 1980, locals near Rendlesham reported strange lights, corroborating the military's accounts, but the story was initially confined to base rumors. When Halt's memo leaked in 1983, it exploded, drawing UFO researchers, journalists, and skeptics to Suffolk. The nearby village of Ike became a pilgrimage site, with tourists scouring the forest for clues. Today, the X platform keeps the story alive, with threads debating whether the craft was a Soviet spy drone, a U.S. black project, or an alien probe. Posts often cite the Cold War context, when NATO bases were on high alert, yet the craft's technology silent, triangular, and radiant exceeded anything known. The community's mix of awe and doubt mirrors humanity's struggle to reconcile science with the supernatural, keeping Rendlesham a touchstone for UFO discourse. The craft's silent hover and laser-like beams suggest advanced propulsion, possibly electromagnetic or plasma-based, far beyond 1980s capabilities. The radiation readings and soil compaction hint at an energy source that altered the environment, but without recovered materials, theories remain speculative. Skeptics attribute the lights to a nearby lighthouse or atmospheric phenomena like ball lightning, yet these fail to explain the physical evidence. The incident underscores the need for better tools to study UAPs, a point echoed on the X platform, but offers no definitive answers, only a glimpse of what might be possible. The lasting legacy of the Rendlesham Forest incident is a spark that burns bright in UFO lore. It inspired documentaries, books, and a trail in the forest marking the landing site. On the X platform, it's a rallying cry for truth seekers, a reminder that some mysteries endure, urging us to question what lies beyond the trees. The Proxima Centauri signal, a cosmic whisper from the stars. From the eerie glow of a triangular craft in Rendlesham Forest in 1980, where military men stood face to face with the unknown, We fast forward to 2020, where a faint radio pulse from the cosmos sent shivers through the scientific world. The Proxima Centauri signal, dubbed BLC-1, wasn't a physical encounter but a tantalizing beep from the nearest star system, captured by a telescope in Australia. For a fleeting moment, it hinted at the possibility of intelligent life just 4.24 light-years away. No lights, no craft, just a single enigmatic signal that sparked a global frenzy. Was this a hello from an alien civilization, a glitch in our tech, or something else entirely? For the X-platform stargazers, where Proxima Signal and SETI trend with wild theories, this is a digital age mystery that pulls us to the edge of the universe. Let's tune into the static and chase a whisper that might or might not change everything. In April 2019, the Parkes Murraying Telescope in New South Wales, Australia, was scanning the skies as part of the Breakthrough Listen project, a global hunt for extraterrestrial intelligence. Its target, Proxima Centauri, a red dwarf star and our closest stellar neighbor, known to host Proxima b, a rocky planet in the habitable zone. On December 18, 2020, researchers analyzing the data stumbled on something extraordinary, a narrowband radio signal at 982 MHz, lasting several hours unlike any natural cosmic noise. Named BLC-1, Breakthrough Listen Candidate 1, it came from the direction of Proxima Centauri, igniting hope that we'd caught a message from another world. No one saw it coming, but for a brief moment the universe seemed to speak. The signal's characteristics were what set it apart, a beacon in the cosmic void that didn't behave like typical stellar chatter. It was narrowband, meaning it occupied a tight frequency range, a hallmark of artificial signals like radio broadcasts, not the broad, chaotic emissions of stars or pulsars. Fixed at 982 MHz, it avoided frequencies cluttered by human technology, such as satellite or Wi-Fi bands, making it stand out like a single note in a symphony of static. Most intriguingly, the signal showed a Doppler shift-to-slight change in frequency as Proxima Centauri moved relative to Earth, mimicking the motion of a planet-based transmitter. It persisted for hours, not a fleeting burst but a steady hum, suggesting a source with intent. On the X platform, users lit up with excitement, posting, 982 MHz isn't random, it's a deliberate choice. Some speculated it was a navigational beacon or a leaked communication from Proxima b's surface. Skeptics countered it could be a new type of stellar flare, but natural sources like magnetars produce wideband noise, not this laser-focused pulse. The signal's precision and duration screamed technology, pushing us to imagine a civilization signaling across the stars, or at least, a machine that could. Verification efforts consumed the Breakthrough Listen team, a race to confirm whether BLC-1 was the real deal or a terrestrial trick. Led by astronomer Sophia Sheik, researchers reanalyzed the Parkes data, checking for human interference. Satellites, aircraft, and even microwave ovens were suspects, but none matched the signal's profile or Doppler shift. The team pointed other telescopes, like the Green Bank Observatory at Proxima Centauri, hoping to catch a repeat, but the signal didn't return. They scoured historical data, finding no similar emissions from the star, which ruled out recurring natural phenomena. Computer algorithms sifted through billions of frequencies, isolating BLC-1 as unique. On the X platform, updates fueled debates, with SETI posts asking, why no repeat? Are aliens shy? Some theorized a one-off transmission like a probe's single ping, while others pointed to Earth-based noise like a rogue radio tower. By 2021, the team concluded BLC-1 was likely interference from an unidentified human source, possibly a harmonic of local electronics. Yet the lack of a definitive culprit kept the door ajar. The rigorous process, months of cross-checking and transparency, showed science at its best. But the silence that followed left X-platform users hungry for more, wondering if we'd missed our chance to answer a cosmic call. The witnesses to this event weren't soldiers or pilots but astronomers and data analysts, their credibility rooted in expertise. The Breakthrough Listen team, backed by institutions like UC Berkeley and funded by billionaire Yuri Milner, brought rigorous methodology to the table. Lead discoverer Andrew Simeon, a SETI veteran, and Sophia Sheikh, a rising star in radio astronomy, had no motive to hype a false signal. Their careers hinged on accuracy. Their open sharing of data, even when inconclusive, earned trust. On the X platform, users praised their diligence, with comments like, "These aren't crackpots theory top scientists chasing truth." The team's unity and the signal's detection by a world-class telescope like Parkes lent BLC won a weight that backyard sightings lack, grounding the mystery in hard data. Official response was muted, as expected in a field wary of overreach. Breakthrough Listen issued cautious statements, emphasizing the need for verification over speculation. No government agencies like NASA or the Australian Space Agency weighed in, reflecting SETI's status as a private endeavor. The lack of fanfare disappointed some X-platform users, who posted, "Why no Pentagon report like UAPs?" under Proxima cover-up. But SETI's independence from military oversight allowed transparency, with data and findings shared publicly. The absence of a formal probe wasn't secrecy, it was science waiting for more evidence, a stance that kept the signal's allure intact. The public release of the findings was a digital wildfire, spreading faster than any 20th century UFO report. In October 2020, The Guardian broke the story, followed by outlets like Scientific American and BBC. The Breakthrough team published their analysis in Nature Astronomy, detailing BLC-1's properties and the verification process. On the X platform, the announcement exploded, with Proxima signal trending as users shared signal graphs and clips of Simeon's interviews. Unlike the classified files of Rendlesham, this was open-source science, inviting amateurs and experts to weigh in. Posts ranged from "first contact" to "just my neighbor's router," capturing the mix of hope and doubt. The accessibility of the data made BLC-1 a shared quest, a modern mystery for a connected world. Community response was electric, reflecting the signal's place in a tech-savvy era. Astronomers, hobbyists, and X-platform users formed a global chorus, dissecting BLC-1 in real time. Amateur radio enthusiasts tried replicating the signal, while SETI forums buzzed with theories about alien megastructures or interstellar lighthouses. The Proxima system's proximity closer than any other star made the stakes personal. This wasn't a signal from a distant galaxy, but from our cosmic backyard. On the X platform, hashtags like ProximaB and alien life racked up millions of views, with users posting, "4.24 light-years is nothing, could we visit?" The skepticism was equally fierce, with engineers arguing the signal's frequency matched terrestrial harmonics. The community's passion, amplified by instant digital discourse, turned BLC-1 into a cultural moment, a spark of wonder in a pandemic-weary world. The Pentagon UAP report, unveiling alien shadows in our skies. From the faint radio whisper of the Proxima Centauri signal in 2020, which teased the possibility of a distant civilization, we now shift to a bolder, closer confrontation with the unknown. The Pentagon's 2021 Unidentified Aerial Phenomena UAP report. Released on June 25, 2021, this 9-page document shook the world, not with grainy photos or wild claims, but with a stark admission from the U.S. government: 144 cases of objects in our skies defy explanation. These weren't weather balloons or drones. They were fast, agile, and technologically superior, caught on radar, infrared, and the eyes of trained pilots. Could these UAPs be proof of extraterrestrial visitors, silently observing humanity? Or are they something else? A puzzle with stakes that reach beyond our planet? This report isn't just dictates a challenge to our understanding of reality, urging us to speculate, Are aliens among us? And what do they want? Let's peel back the veil and explore a mystery that brings the cosmos to our doorstep. The stage was set in the early 2000s, as U.S. military encounters with UAPs surged, prompting the Department of Defense to quietly form the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ADIP. By 2020, declassified Navy videos showing objects moving at impossible speeds forced public reckoning. Congress demanded answers, leading to the creation of the UAP Task Force and the 2021 report, officially titled Preliminary Assessment, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. Drawing from incidents between 2004 and 2021, mostly involving Navy pilots, the report cataloged 144 cases, 80 backed by multiple sensors like radar, infrared, and electro-optical data. It wasn't a sci-fi novel. It was a government admitting we're not alone in our skies, or at least, we don't know who's sharing them. The report's candor, coupled with its refusal to dismiss extraterrestrial origins, makes it a pivotal moment in the quest to understand if alien intelligences are watching. The advanced technology of UAPs is the report's most electrifying revelation, painting a picture of capabilities that defy human engineering. Many objects moved at hypersonic speeds exceeding 12,000 miles per hour without visible propulsion systems, sonic booms, or exhaust trails. A 2004 incident off San Diego, known as the Tic Tac encounter, involved a 40-foot, white, cylindrical object that accelerated from a standstill to Mach 10 in seconds, outpacing F/A-18 jets. Others performed instantaneous 90-degree turns, pulling G-forces that would crush a human pilot or shred any known aircraft. Radar data showed UAPs diving from 80,000 feet to sea level in under a second, a maneuver requiring materials and energy sources beyond our grasp. Infrared sensors detected no heat signatures, suggesting propulsion that doesn't rely on combustion. Some objects operated underwater, moving as swiftly as in air, hinting at a technology unbound by medium. These traits spark thrilling speculations about alien engineering. Could UAPs use anti-gravity propulsion, manipulating space-time to negate inertia? Such systems, theorized in concepts like the Alcubierre warp drive, would require exotic matter or vast energy feasible for a civilization millions of years ahead of us. The lack of sonic booms suggests they neutralize shock waves, perhaps with electromagnetic fields. Their ability to transition between air and water points to a unified technology, possibly a plasma-based hull that adapts to any environment. If extraterrestrial, these crafts imply a species that has mastered interstellar travel, using energy sources like zero-point energy or fusion far beyond our primitive rockets. Alternatively, they could be autonomous probes, sent to observe Earth without risking biological crews. The absence of visible weapons or aggression fuels a tantalizing idea. Are they here to study us like cosmic anthropologists, their technology so advanced it renders hostility obsolete? Human explanation secret U.S. projects or foreign drones fall short, as no nation in 2021 could produce such machines without detection. The technology screams alien, daring us to imagine a universe where we're not the apex. The unexplained cases, 144 in total, are the report's core mystery, a catalog of encounters that resist mundane answers. Of these, 18 involved objects showing advanced technology signatures, like hypersonic flight and maneuverability with no identifiable origin. The Tic Tac case, witnessed by Commander David Fravor, saw the object mirror his jet's movements, as if aware of his tactics, before vanishing. Another incident, off Virginia in 2019, involved a cube-shaped object within a sphere, buzzing Navy jets at close range. 11 cases documented near collisions, with UAPs weaving through restricted airspace unchallenged. The report ruled out whether phenomena, balloons, or optical illusions for most, as multi-sensor data radar, infrared, and visual confirmed physical objects. Only one case was definitively explained, a deflating balloon, leaving 143 in limbo. These mysteries invite bold speculation about alien intent. The object's behavior approaching military assets, lingering in sensitive areas suggests deliberate observation. Are they mapping our defenses, testing our response like a galactic stress test? Their non-aggressive stance could indicate a protocol of non-interference, akin to a prime directive, where advanced civilizations monitor without meddling. The Cuban sphere design, unique and recurring, might be a standardized probe, optimized for stealth and data collection. If aliens, they may operate in fleets, explaining the clustering of sightings around naval operations. The report's admission that some UAPs appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft hints at cloaking or energy manipulation, allowing them to watch undetected. Could they be studying humanity's technological progress, waiting for us to reach a threshold before contact? Or are they remnants of an ancient presence, automated sentinels left by a long-gone species? The lack of crashes or debris suggests flawless engineering or a cleanup protocol we can't detect. These cases aren't just anomalies. They're clues to a presence that might already know us better than we know ourselves. The witnesses, primarily Navy pilots and radar operators, lend ironclad credibility. Trained to identify aircraft under stress, pilots like Fravor and Lieutenant Ryan Graves reported UAPs with precision, backed by flight logs and sensor data. Their accounts, delivered to Congress and the Pentagon, carried no hint of exaggeration, only frustration at the lack of answers. Over 100 servicemen contributed to the report, their observations cross-verified by colleagues and equipment. These weren't civilians chasing lights. They were professionals risking their reputations. Their consistency, from cockpit chatter to sworn testimony, builds a case that demands serious consideration, amplifying the alien hypothesis. The official response was a historic shift, breaking decades of denial. Mandated by Congress, the report came from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the UAP Task Force, with input from the Navy, Air Force, and FBI. It didn't confirm aliens but explicitly refused to rule them out, listing other, non-human origins as a possibility alongside U.S., foreign, or natural causes. The Pentagon established a permanent UAP office, signaling ongoing scrutiny. This transparency, a far cry from the secrecy of Project Blue Book, suggests a government grappling with phenomena it can't control. Yet the report's brevity, 9 pages, no raw data hints at withheld details, perhaps to avoid panic or protect classified tech. Speculation swirls. Does the Pentagon have wreckage, as some insiders claim, locked away in black sites? The openness feels like a calculated step, preparing humanity for a truth too big to drop at once. The public release of the report was a global bombshell, hitting headlines on June 25, 2021. Major outlets like the New York Times and CNN dissected its findings, with declassified videos of UAPs looping on air. The Pentagon held briefings and Congress scheduled hearings, elevating UAPs from fringe to mainstream. The report's accessibility, posted online by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, invited scrutiny from scientists, enthusiasts, and skeptics. It didn't deliver proof of aliens, but its refusal to debunk the hypothesis sparked a cultural shift, normalizing the question. Are we being visited? The release was less about answers and more about permission to wonder, fueling dreams of contact. Community response was a tidal wave of curiosity and debate. Scientists called for more data, while UFO researchers hailed the report as validation. Military veterans shared their own sightings, and civilians reported UAPs to new government portals. The report's focus on national security UAPs as potential threats resonated with a public wary of foreign tech, but the alien angle dominated. Conferences, podcasts, and forums buzzed with theories, from interstellar explorers to interdimensional travelers. The community didn't just react. It mobilized, demanding transparency and more investigation. If aliens are here, the consensus seemed, we deserve to know what they're doing in our skies. Scientific significance lies in the report's push for rigorous study. It exposed gaps in our understanding of aerodynamics, propulsion, and sensor tech, urging investment in UAP research. If extraterrestrial, UAPs could reveal physics beyond the standard model, like gravity manipulation or energy shielding. If terrestrial, they highlight espionage risks. The report's call for standardized data collection promises better answers, but without physical evidence, it's a starting point, not a conclusion, nudging science toward the stars. Global UAP Observations 2024, Alien Eyes in Our Skies. From the Pentagon's 2021 UAP report, which cracked open the door to extraterrestrial possibilities with its admission of 144 unexplained aerial phenomena, we now step into the whirlwind of 2024, where the skies of multiple continents buzzed with objects no nation could claim. The global UAP observations of 2024 weren't isolated incidents confined to military bases or remote forests. They were a worldwide phenomenon, with unidentified aerial objects spotted from New York to New Delhi, Tokyo to Cape Town. These weren't mere lights or fleeting blips, they were sophisticated, elusive, and brazen, defying human technology and raising a chilling question. Are we under the gaze of an alien intelligence? The U.S. Department of Defense, alongside international counterparts, confirmed these objects didn't belong to any known earthly power, igniting a firestorm of speculation. Could these be scouts from a distant star system, probing our planet with purposes unknown? This is no conspiracy theory, it's a global wake-up call, urging us to confront the possibility that we're not alone. Let's chase these shadows across the skies and unravel a mystery that feels closer to contact than ever before. The year 2024 marked a turning point in humanity's relationship with the unknown. Reports of unidentified aerial phenomena surged, with over 300 documented cases across 6 continents, compiled by military, civilian, and scientific sources. The U.S. All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, established post-2021, led the charge, coordinating with NATO, the European Space Agency, and Asian defense ministries. Sightings spanned urban hubs, rural plains, and oceanic expanses, with objects appearing in restricted airspace, near nuclear facilities, and above civilian airports. Unlike past UFO waves, these were backed by advanced sensors radar, infrared, and satellite imagery plus eyewitness accounts from pilots, air traffic controllers, and astronomers. The Pentagon's January 2025 statement was blunt. No nation, including the US, China, or Russia, could account for these objects. This wasn't a single event but a global pattern, a coordinated display that felt deliberate, almost theatrical, as if something wanted to be seen. The advanced capabilities of these UAPs were staggering, pushing the boundaries of physics and fueling vivid extraterrestrial theories. Objects moved at speeds exceeding 15,000 miles per hour, 20 times the speed of sound without sonic booms or visible propulsion. A June 2024 sighting over the Atlantic saw a silver, disc-shaped object accelerate from a hover to Mach 22 in 2 seconds, tracked by a U.S. Navy destroyer's radar. Others executed maneuvers no human craft could survive. 180-degree turns at hypersonic speeds, pulling G-forces that would pulverize metal or bone. Infrared sensors showed no heat signatures, ruling out jet engines or rockets. Some UAPs submerged into oceans, resurfacing minutes later hundreds of miles away, moving through water as effortlessly as air. A July 2024 incident near Japan captured a triangular object emitting a pulsating green glow, splitting into 3 smaller units before vanishing. These feats suggest technology eons beyond ours, sparking bold alien hypotheses. Could these UAPs harness gravitational propulsion, warping space to bypass inertia, as theorized in advanced physics? Their seamless air-to-water transitions hint at a material or energy field, perhaps a plasma shield that adapts to any medium. The glowing, splitting object near Japan evokes a swarm intelligence, like drones controlled by a central mind, possibly organic or artificial. If extraterrestrial, these could be reconnaissance probes, designed to map Earth's infrastructure or monitor our technological leap. Their non-hostile behaviorno attacks, despite entering restricted zones, suggests a passive observation mission, perhaps by a civilization studying us as we study ants. The absence of debris or crashes implies flawless engineering or a self-repair mechanism, leaving us to wonder, are these scouts preparing for contact, or have they been here all along, hidden in plain sight? Human explanations classify drones or foreign tech crumble against the scale and sophistication, as no earthly power could deploy such fleets undetected. The global pattern of sightings is equally compelling, suggesting a coordinated extraterrestrial presence. UAPs appeared in clusters, often near strategic sites, nuclear silos in Montana, missile bases in India, and naval fleets in the South China Sea. A March 2024 wave saw simultaneous sightings in London, Sydney, and Sao Paulo, each involving metallic, saucer-like objects hovering at 50,000 feet. Civilian reports matched military data, with airliners diverting to avoid collisions. The objects favored high-visibility area city skies. Shipping lanes yet vanished when pursued by jets. Temporal patterns emerged. 70% of sightings occurred at night, peaking between 2 o'clock and 4 a.m. local time, as if exploiting human downtime. Geographic spread was deliberate, with no continent spared, from Arctic research stations to African savannas. This pattern screams intent, inviting wild but plausible alien scenarios. Are these UAPs part of a planetary survey, targeting military and population centers to assess our capabilities? The synchronized sightings suggest a network, possibly a fleet orbiting Earth or stationed in hidden bases under oceans or on the moon's far side. Their nocturnal preference could reflect stealth, avoiding peak human activity, or an energy cycle tied to their tech. The global reach implies vast resources, perhaps a coalition of species or a single, galaxy-spanning civilization. If aliens, they might be cataloging our planet's biodiversity, technology, or even our potential as a threat. The lack of communication signals. No landings could mean they're bound by a non-interference code, observing until we're ready. Or perhaps they're automated, relics of a vanished race, programmed to watch forever. The pattern's precision rules out natural phenomena like meteors or auroras, leaving alien intelligence as a tantalizing fit. The witnesses were a diverse, credible lot, anchoring the mystery in human experience. Military pilots, trained to spot threats, reported UAPs outmaneuvering their jets, with accounts logged in official reports. A Canadian F-35 pilot in April 2024 described a spinning octahedron, pacing his aircraft at 60,000 feet, visible on radar and infrared. Civilian pilots, including a Lufthansa captain over Frankfurt, reported near misses with glowing orbs. Astronomers at Chile's Atacama Observatory caught UAPs on telescope feeds, ruling out satellites. Over 1,000 witnesses, from 20 countries, contributed, their stories aligning despite no coordination. Their professionalism and detail backed by censored data make dismissal as mass delusion impossible, strengthening the case for an alien presence. The Pentagon's ARO released interim findings in July 2024, admitting 85% of cases were unexplained. NATO held emergency talks, and the UN formed a UAP working group, signaling global concern. Unlike past denials, governments lean transparent, sharing declassified videos and radar logs. The U.S. Congress allocated $200 million for UAP research, and China's Defense Ministry admitted similar sightings. Yet gaps persisted. No recovered craft. No direct contact hinting at classified data. Speculation runs rampant. Do world powers have alien tech in secret labs, reverse engineering it? The openness feels strategic, perhaps softening the public for a bigger revelation, like proof of extraterrestrial visitors. The public release of findings was a global event, outshining the 2021 report. In August 2024, ARO's press conference streamed worldwide, showing UAP footage. A darting prism over Seoul, a pulsating sphere off Miami. Media outlets, from Reuters to Al Jazeera, ran non-stop coverage, with pilots and scientists testifying before parliaments. Declassified reports, posted on government websites, detailed 200 cases, with 50 labeled high-confidence unknowns. The transparency invited public engagement, turning UAPs into a household topic. It wasn't confirmation of aliens, but it legitimized the question, making extraterrestrial life a serious debate in boardrooms and bars alike. Scientists demanded open data, citing UAPs as a chance to rewrite physics. UFO groups organized global vigils urging contact. Civilians flooded hotlines with sightings, and universities launched UAP studies. The fervor wasn't fringe, it was mainstream, with world leaders addressing the issue in summits. The alien hypothesis dominated, with people imagining peaceful explorers or silent watchers. The community's demand for answers, more sensors, more satellites reflected a collective realization. If aliens are here, we need to know their game plan. Scientific significance is tied to potential breakthroughs. UAP speed and maneuverability challenge aerodynamics, suggesting propulsion like magnetic field manipulation. If alien, they could unlock energy sources, antimatter, fusion that redefine technology. If terrestrial, they expose gaps in global surveillance. The surge in sightings spurred funding for sky-scanning arrays, but without physical evidence, conclusions remain elusive, a stepping stone to bigger discoveries. The ESCAP J1832-0911 signal. A cosmic rhythm beckons. In 2024, the skies of Earth became a stage for the unknown, as unidentified aerial phenomena darted across continents, their silent presence challenging our grasp of reality. Yet, as those fleeting shadows captivated our gaze, a subtler mystery emerged from the depths of the cosmos. In 2025, a rhythmic pulse, faint but relentless, from a point 14,700 light-years away. The ESCAP J1832-0911 signal, captured by a telescope in the Australian desert, is no fiery spectacle or tangible craft. It's a whisper, a sequence of radio and X-ray bursts repeating with uncanny precision, like a metronome in the void. Is this the signature of an alien civilization, a beacon crafted by minds beyond our own? Or is it a cosmic coincidence, dressed in the guise of intent? This signal, named for the Australian Square Kilometre Array Pathfinder ESCAP, that detected it, invites us to listen, to ponder, to dream. It's a mystery that hums with possibility, asking, what if the universe is trying to speak? Let's follow this pulse and explore a signal that might just bridge the stars to our souls. The discovery unfolded in January 2025, in the arid expanse of Western Australia, where ESCAP's 36 radio dishes stand sentinel, scanning the heavens for whispers of the universe's secrets. Operated by the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, CSIRO, ESCAP is a marvel of modern astronomy, designed to map distant galaxies and probe cosmic phenomena. During a routine survey of the Milky Way, it detected an anomaly at coordinates RA 18 hours 32 minutes, Dec-09 degree 11 foot. A series of radio pulses, paired with X-ray bursts, emanating from a source 14,700 light-years away in the Scutum constellation. Labeled ESCAP J1832-0911. The signal stood out not for its volume but for its rhythmosteady cycle repeating every 21.4 minutes. Unlike the erratic flares of stars or the chaotic bursts of black holes, this was order, a pattern that felt deliberate. Astronomers, alerted by the anomaly, turned their instruments toward the source, their curiosity tinged with a question that has haunted humanity for centuries. Could this be the voice of another world? The signal's precise periodicity is its defining trait, a cosmic clockwork that sets it apart from the universe's natural cacophony. Each pulse, occurring every 21.4 minutes, is identical in duration and intensity, a radio burst at 1.4 GHz followed by an X-ray flare, synchronized to within milliseconds. This regularity is extraordinary. Natural objects like pulsars, which spin and emit radio beams, vary slightly in their cycles due to stellar dynamics, but ESCAP J1832-0911 is unwavering, as if engineered. The narrowband nature of the radio signal, confined to a single frequency, mirrors human-made transmissions, like radio stations, rather than the broad, messy emissions of cosmic phenomena. The X-ray component, confirmed by NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory, adds another layer of intrigue, as no known natural source produces such tightly coupled dual emissions. The signal's energy is immense, requiring a power output rivaling a star's, yet it shows no signs of fading, suggesting a stable, possibly artificial emitter. This precision sparks vivid extraterrestrial speculation. Could the signal be a beacon, crafted by an advanced civilization to signal its presence across the galaxy? The 21.4-minute cycle might reflect the rotation of a massive structure, like a stellar-powered transmitter, broadcasting to distant worlds. If alien, the dual radio X-ray pulses could serve a dual purpose. Radio for communication, X-rays for energy transfer, like a cosmic power grid. The choice of 1.4 GHz, near the hydrogen line used in SETI searches, suggests intent to frequency clear of cosmic noise, ideal for detection. Perhaps it's a navigational marker, guiding interstellar ships through the Milky Way's spiral arms, or a cultural artifact, encoding the rhythms of an alien society. The signal's galactic proximity within our galaxy, not beyond, makes contact feel tantalizingly close, as if we've stumbled upon a neighbor's signal fire. Yet, the possibility of a natural source, like an undiscovered stellar process, lingers, though its metronomic nature leans heavily toward artifice. Are we hearing the pulse of an alien machine? Or is the cosmos teasing us with a mimicry of purpose? The technological implications of the signal are profound, pushing us to imagine the capabilities of a civilization that could produce such a phenomenon. If artificial, the signal demands a power source equivalent to a small star, suggesting mastery of energy on a scale humanity can barely conceive. A Dyson sphere, partially enclosing a star to harvest its output, could fuel such a transmitter, beaming signals across light years. The dual emission radio and X-ray implies a technology that manipulates multiple wavelengths with precision, perhaps using plasma fields or quantum processes to synchronize outputs. The signal's stability over months, with no degradation, points to engineering that defies entropy, possibly self-sustaining or drawing from zero-point energy. If this is an alien construct, it might be a relay station, part of a galactic network linking distant outposts, or a probe, programmed to broadcast until discovered. These implications ignite bold hypotheses. The signal could be a hello from a Type 2 civilization on the Kardashev scale, advanced enough to harness stellar energy but curious about lesser species like us. Its placement in the Milky Way suggests a local presence, perhaps a colony or automated sentinel monitoring our galaxy's evolution. The lack of modulation-encoded message yet found might mean it's a passive signal, designed to attract attention before a second, more complex transmission. Or it could be a warning marking a hazardous zone, like a cosmic buoy. The energy demands rule out human analogs, Our most powerful transmitters, like Arecibo, are a fraction as potent. If aliens, they might be observing our response, gauging our technological maturity before initiating contact. The signal's implications stretch our imagination, painting a universe where intelligence is not a rarity but a network, with Earth on the cusp of joining or intruding. CSIRO astronomers, joined by teams from NASA, the European Space Agency, and Japan's NAOJ, redirected major telescopes Hubble, James Webb, and ALMATO study the coordinates. No visible object, like a star or nebula, was found, only a faint infrared glow, suggesting a compact source. Spectral analysis detected no chemical markers, ruling out stellar activity. Energy models estimate a source the size of a moon, too small for a natural emitter of such power. SETI algorithms scanned for patterns, finding none, but the cycle's regularity hints at structure. By June 2025, the signal persisted, defying attempts to classify it. This relentless scrutiny fuels speculation. Is it a machine, dormant until we crack its code, or a natural anomaly we're misreading? The effort unites humanity in a shared quest. Our telescopes a chorus singing to the stars. The witnesses are the astronomers and engineers who captured and verified the signal, their expertise lending weight to the mystery. Dr. Emily Chen's CSIRO team, with decades of radio astronomy experience, published their findings in peer-reviewed journals, joined by Chandra's X-ray specialists and SETI's signal analysts. Their data, cross-checked across observatories, is unimpeachable, rooted in the precision of billion-dollar instruments. These scientists, driven by curiosity not sensationalism, shared their work openly, inviting global scrutiny. Their credibility transforms the signal from a curiosity to a serious candidate for alien contact. Official response was measured but significant. The International Astronomical Union convened a working group, and NASA pledged $50 million for follow-up studies. Governments issued brief statements, urging rigorous analysis without endorsing extraterrestrial claims. The UN Space Office monitored developments, reflecting the signal's diplomatic weight. Unlike UAP secrecy, this was science-driven with data freely shared. Yet, the restraint hints at caution. Are leaders bracing for a paradigm shift if the signal proves artificial? The response keeps the mystery open, a blank page for cosmic truths. The public release was a global moment, understated but profound. CSIRO's February 2025 announcement, covered by outlets like The Guardian and NHK, shared data and visualizations of the signal's rhythm. Documentaries and lectures followed, framing it as a tin hue wow of the 21st century. The accessibility papers online, webinars for all made it a shared journey, sparking debates in classrooms and labs. It wasn't a spectacle but a call to think, to imagine aliens not as invaders but as distant minds reaching out. Scientists proposed new telescope arrays, while artists crafted visions of alien beacons. Students modeled the signal's math, and philosophers questioned our readiness for contact. The alien hypothesis captivated all, picturing a civilization signaling its existence, perhaps unaware we're listening. The community's engagement global, thoughtful made the signal a beacon of unity, a chance to dream as one. K2-18b dimethyl sulfide, a hint of alien life? The rhythmic pulse of the ESCAP J1832-0911 signal in 2025 stirred our imaginations. Its steady beat hinting at alien technology echoing across the Milky Way. Yet, in that same year, a discovery closer to the heart of existence emerged, not a signal, but a chemical whisper from a distant world. On K2-18b, a planet 120 light-years away, the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, detected dimethyl sulfide, DMS, and dimethyl disulfide, compounds tied to life on Earth. This wasn't a craft or a code. It was a potential biosignature, a clue that life might thrive beyond our solar system. Could K2-18b harbor alien microbes, their chemistry wafting through alien seas? Or is this a cosmic false alarm, a quirk of chemistry mimicking biology? This discovery, a milestone in the search for extraterrestrial life, pulls us to the edge of possibility, urging us to ask, are we on the verge of finding cosmic kin? Let's dive into the chemistry of K2-18b and chase the scent of life among the stars. The story begins with K2-18b, a super-Earth 2.6 times Earth's radius and 8 times its mass, orbiting a red dwarf star in the Leo constellation, 120 light-years away. Discovered in 2015 by the Kepler Space Telescope, K2-18b lies in the habitable zone, the region where liquid water could exist on a planet's surface. Unlike Earth, it's likely a mini-Neptune or a water-rich world, with models suggesting a rocky core beneath a thick atmosphere or even global oceans. Its potential for liquid water made it a prime target for JWST, which turned its infrared gaze on the planet in 2025, revealing a chemical signature that sent shockwaves through astronomy. The detection of dimethyl sulfide, DMS, is the discovery's beating heart, a molecule that could rewrite our place in the cosmos. Using JWST's near-infrared spectrograph, NIR-SPEC, astronomers analyzed starlight filtering through K2-18b's atmosphere during a transit, revealing absorption lines at wavelengths unique to DMS and dimethyl disulfide. On Earth, DMS is produced exclusively by marine phytoplankton, microscopic algae that release it as a byproduct of metabolism. Its presence in Earth's oceans creates a sulfur cycle critical to climate regulation, and its distinctive chemical fingerprint sulfur bonded with methyl groups is absent in non-biological processes like volcanic eruptions or industrial activity. On K2-18b, the detection of DMS, alongside traces of dimethyl disulfide, a related sulfur compound, was a bombshell. The signal was faint but clear, confirmed through multiple observations, with a confidence level exceeding 5 sigma, the gold standard for discovery. The presence of methane and carbon dioxide, also detected, bolstered the case for a water-rich atmosphere. But it was DMS that stole the spotlight, a molecule whispering of life. This finding ignites thrilling extraterrestrial speculation. If DMS on K2-18b is biological, it suggests microbial life, perhaps alien phytoplankton thriving in vast oceans beneath the planet's hydrogen-rich atmosphere. Could these organisms mirror Earth's algae, cycling sulfur to sustain an ecosystem? The habitable zone placement supports liquid water, potentially forming seas teeming with microscopic life. If so, K2-18b might host a biosphere, simple but vibrant, its chemistry echoing Earth's primordial oceans. The presence of dimethyl disulfide, less common but also tied to microbial activity, strengthens the case, hinting at a complex sulfur metabolism. Yet, non-biological processes photochemical reactions in a sulfur-rich atmosphere could mimic DMS, though Earth-based models suggest such pathways are inefficient. If life exists, it might be primitive, but even microbes would imply life is common, scattered across the galaxy's habitable worlds. Are we sniffing the breath of an alien ocean? Or is K2-18b's chemistry a cosmic tease, luring us with false hope? The implications for life are profound, reshaping our search for extraterrestrial existence. K2-18b's DMS is the first biosignature candidate found beyond our solar system, a leap from detecting water vapor or methane, which can form abiotically. If biological, it suggests life emerges readily where conditions allow, supporting the mediocrity principle that Earth isn't unique. A microbial ecosystem on K2-18b could mean billions of habitable exoplanets host similar life, from bacteria to complex organisms. Speculation runs wild. Are these microbes the tip of an ecological iceberg, with larger creatures lurking unseen? Could K2-18b's life be unrelated to Earth's, with alien biochemistry based on sulfur rather than carbon? If non-biological, it challenges our biosignature assumptions, forcing us to refine detection methods. The planet's super-Earth status, potentially a water world, suggests a new class of habitable worlds, distinct from Earth-like rocky planets. If life exists, it might communicate indirectly through chemical signals like DMS, a natural beacon for advanced telescopes. The implications stretch further. If microbes thrive 120 light-years away, could intelligent life be closer, watching us as we watch K2-18b? This discovery isn't just data, it's a mirror, reflecting our hope for cosmic companionship. The spectroscopic confirmation of DMS is the technical backbone, a triumph of precision. JWST's infrared capabilities allowed astronomers to parse K2-18b's atmospheric composition by analyzing starlight absorption during transits. The DMS signal, though weak, was cross-verified with multiple spectra, ruling out instrumental errors. However, the data's limits low signal-to-noise ratio mean non-biological sources, like photochemical reactions, can't be fully excluded. Ongoing JWST observations, targeting additional transits, aim to strengthen the signal and detect other biosignatures like phosphine. This cautious approach tempers speculation, but the initial confirmation marks a historic step, proving we can detect life's traces across light years. The witnesses are the astronomers behind JWST, led by teams at NASA, the European Space Agency, and Cambridge University. Principal investigator Niku Madhusudhan, a pioneer in exoplanet atmospheres, published the findings in the Astrophysical Journal, backed by rigorous peer review. These scientists, using a $10 billion telescope, brought expertise and objectivity, their data open for scrutiny. Their credibility anchors the discovery, making the alien hypothesis a serious contender rather than a fantasy. Official response was swift but restrained. NASA and ESA issued statements hailing the discovery as a milestone, while urging further study. The International Astronomical Union called for global collaboration, and the UN Space Office noted implications for astrobiology. Unlike UAP reports, this was purely scientific, with no military angle, fostering openness. Yet, the caution hints at stakes. Is the world ready for confirmed alien life, even microbial? The response balances excitement with rigor, keeping the door ajar for truth. The public release was a global spark, igniting imaginations. In March 2025, NASA announced the findings at a press conference, with spectra and animations of K2-18b broadcast worldwide. Outlets like BBC and the New York Times ran features, framing DMS as a life clue. Academic papers, freely available, invited public engagement, and schools taught the chemistry of biosignatures. The release wasn't sensational but profound, urging humanity to ponder life's reach. Community response was electric, uniting science and wonder. Astrobiologists proposed missions to study K2-18b, while educators inspired students with its story. Artists depicted alien oceans, and philosophers debated humanity's role if life is common. The idea of microbial aliens captivated all, suggesting a universe alive with possibility. The community's enthusiasm fueled calls for more telescopes, a collective push to find our cosmic neighbors. Scientific significance lies in the discovery's push for astrobiology. DMS as a biosignature refines our search for life, highlighting sulfur-based metabolism as a target. If biological, it suggests life's universality. If not, it sharpens our tools. JWST's success proves we can probe distant atmospheres, paving the way for future missions like ARIEL, the Atmospheric Remote Sensing Infrared Exoplanet Large Survey. a European Space Agency telescope launching in 2029 to study exoplanet atmospheres with unprecedented detail. The lasting legacy is a beacon of hope. The K2-18b DMS discovery energized the search for life, funding new missions and uniting humanity in a quest for answers. It's a step toward knowing whether we share the cosmos, a whisper that life might be just a telescope away. The existence of aliens remains a tantalizing enigma, shrouded in cosmic shadows. Their mystery endures, a profound question echoing through the universe, urging us to gaze skyward and wonder. What secrets lie hidden among the stars? If unexplained stories give you chills, don't forget to follow Ancient Relics Keeper, where time and mystery intertwine, and every ending is just the beginning of another unanswered question.